I want to address maybe a mid-sized elephant in the room about the theming of this episode and why we included it for Pride Month. Obviously, the main character is genderless and pretty much unreferred to through the game altogether. Like whether or not they are quote unquote non-binary or not, or anything like that, is largely irrelevant within the context of the game itself.
But I would say the game is deliberately ambiguous. It is a choice.
Yes, and in doing so, while we're talking about Jusant, I want to direct our attention to this thread on the Steam community forums, started in the general discussions of Jusant by a username in 2023 of all years, a username wolfishmeat7, titled "How Woke This Game Is." Genuine question, of course, because it's from creators of Life is Strange. I love climbing game, so I have to know, period. No hate, period. All right.
Curious about that last bit?
Yeah, or the first bit. I'm not going to go through every single response because, you'll see why. But here's a couple. Here's one from Nameless Avatar. This one is, I have not seen any LGBT propaganda so far after 2 hours, but I am also not reading the random letters and note collectibles. I expect that's where the propaganda would be.
I'm reading this thread now. Jesus Christ.
Somebody responds, what? As you told, it's a climbing game. Do you expect the wall to be climbing to have pronouns? And then somebody responds, given all the nonsense coming from all the woke, yes. I would also expect it to identify as a building. Like, okay. Here's the answer that was marked as correct at the bottom of the page. There is no political nonsense here. Just an excellent adventure, climbing up a steep wall with a cute buddy by your side. Obviously a loaded response still. Like, just the existence of a non-defined character, a character whose gender is not made very obvious by gender appearance, means that we have to ask whether or not there's anything political about it. And if there were, it would be labeled nonsense by this person. That's why I had to include this game, because just by its mere existence, it invokes, let me count them, 19 pages of comments on this thread about whether or not it's woke. There are 274 comments of people just arguing about it. And the author themselves, even though this is a very disingenuous question, has marked this post answered at the first page, and people just kept going about it. That's what it's like to just exist as somebody who doesn't conform to gender standards these days.
Well, I wouldn't advance this game as a way to make a strong version of this argument, but I do think there's something very real here. One of the sort of a possible mode of queerness can be via almost negation, right? Mm-hmm. If we think about gender and sexuality as performance and performative in the actual classical Butlerian mode, sort of the stuff that Judith Butler talks about, to just in its absence, to have a figure that is not gendered, that is not sort of sexed in that way, creates discomfort within people who otherwise sort of in this reactionary way require and kind of need to police that definition.
And it doesn't even matter if you're non-binary or trans. Cisgender people, especially women, are getting blowback from this anti-gender wokeness movement as well, just for maybe having a bit more of a pronounced jawline or brow bone, right? Or dark hair. Gee, I wonder what kinds of people have darker hair that might be perceived as more masculine, therefore more queer, whether or not they're actually trans or non-binary at all.